Welcome to Become a Puppet Master, a tutorial series focused on helping you become a Toonboom Puppet Master. I am your host, DeAndre Reed, professional animator and owner of Moko Productions, so let's jump right in. So, last episode, we did the bouncing ball. On episode 2, we will be doing this hand sort of thing, where it's smashing something. We're not quite sure what it's smashing, but it will be smashing something. So this is the animation that we are going to do today. I'm going to walk you through how I did this, and it will be the second stage in learning to become a puppet master. So let's start from scratch. So we're going to delete everything like we did yesterday. Remember, Control R is create new drawing, add and close. So first we are going to do the hand drawing. Give me 1 second. Whenever you are creating a puppet with multiple pieces, you always want to start with a circle to connect the pieces. In this case, we're going to have a hand and a forearm. So we need a circle. This is the starting of the hand. And then we're going to draw the hand off of this circle. So the best way to explain it is each joint on a character, when we're thinking of arms and legs, should have a circle shape. Right, so this would be the wrist of the hand. Gonna come off. Let's draw the thumb there. And then we're gonna create the rest of this hand. Boom, something like that. Let's do that. And something like that. Want to make sure this ends in the center. So now that we've established that the joints should be circles, so this is the wrist here. Let me just clean this up a little bit. Okay. So now that we've established that the joints should be circles, we have to do the forearm. We're going to name this hand as well. This layer, hand. Now we have to do the forearm. So what you want to do is you want to copy this circle from the wrist. We're going to create a new drawing, Control R. Call it forearm. Now we're going to paste that circle we just copied, Control V, from the wrist into the forearm layer. So now this hand will have a perfect joint that connects the wrist and the forearm. Boom. So we're drawing the forearm now. Boom. Then you can just paste that circle again, Control V. And then you can just use this contour editor tool to stretch across. Stretch that line across. Boom. So now we have the wrist, well, the forearm and the hand. And then the joints of the wrist are circles. And this would technically be the elbow of the forearm, which is also a circle. So if we continue to build this arm, you would take this circle, copy it again, paste it, and use that to do the upper arm of the upper part of the arm. But we're not going to get into that quite yet. So our next step in creating this animation is, remember yesterday when we were doing the bouncing ball, the circle, the pivot point of the circle was not where it was supposed to be, right? So if we select this forearm, the pivot point of the forearm is in the middle of it. We don't want the pivot point of the forearm to be in the middle, because if you have a forearm and you're swinging or you're hitting, trying to smash something, it's moving from your elbow. So remember I just said this is our elbow here. So we want the pivot point to be in the middle of the elbow. So boom. That would be our elbow. So now the pivot point is there. And now we have to do the same for the hand. If you're swinging and your hand's moving, where is it moving from? Your wrist. So we want to make our pivot point that's over here in the middle of the circle that's representing the wrist. Right? So we're going to select this. We're going to do the same exact thing. Take this drawing pivot tool. Place it in the circle here. Now, boom. It's in the wrist. Great. So now that we have that established, let's go ahead and color this in. So I'm going to go ahead and color this. Boom, 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 boom. Oh. And then we're going to select with our transform tool. I'm going to go ahead and select this forearm. Boom, boom, colored. Okay. So now we're actually on frame 2. So we want to drag this backwards. So I just pressed shift and selected the frames on both layers and drag it backwards. And then remember, you can either press shift plus to extend the frames, or what you could have done was selected both of these frames and hit extend exposure or F5, and it would have pulled the drawings out to frame 21. Boom. Okay. Now we have the hand and the forearm colored. So what's our next step? This is when we start working with the node view. Now the node view is pretty scary to a lot of people, but pretty much it's just a representation of what's over here, right? It can get more complicated, but right now it's not. So what we want to do is we want to create a peg for the forearm. You can think of the peg as a clear envelope, right? And within this envelope, we'll have the hand. In one envelope, we'll have the hand. In another envelope, we'll have the forearm. So if you were to put a letter in an envelope and you in a clear envelope and you moved it around, you'd be able to see the letter inside, but it goes wherever the envelope goes because it's inside of it. That's pretty much what this peg is. This drawing is going to be inside of this peg. So what I did was I went to the node library. If you don't have it at the bottom here, you can press the plus button and it will pull up a bunch of options and node libraries right here. Okay. And then then you can type in peg and peg will come up and you can just pull it right out into the node library. So now we have 2 pegs. One peg for the forearm, one peg for the hand. So we're going to name them accordingly. Forearm peg. Hand peg. Oh. The way I just named these is I just clicked on this yellow box here and then typed it in up here on name. Okay. Next step. Now, we run into an issue. This forearm, we just set the peg for the forearm, but if we select the peg and then select the forearm, the peg is all the way over here. That's not what we want. Remember, we want the peg in the middle of the joint where the drawing will be moving. So in this case, remember we said this is the elbow, so we want it to be moving from the elbow joint. So you would click this yellow box here on the forearm drawing. And then all the way at the bottom, it says drawing pivot, use embedded pivots. You want to set this to apply embedded pivot on parent peg, right? Boom. And then it moves the pivot point from where it was to the middle of the joint, same as it was on the drawing layer, on the forearm drawing layer that we did earlier. So it pretty much reads what we did earlier when we set the pivot point on the drawing layer, and it says, oh, it should be this way on the parent peg as well, this forearm peg. So if you missed it the last time, we're going to do it again on this hand. All right, so click this yellow box for the hand. If you look over here, boom. See, our pivot point is all the way over here when it should be where the wrist is, because the hand would move from the wrist. Now you want to go from apply embedded pivot on drawing layer. Keep an eye on it. Keep an eye on this this pivot point, and we're going to click apply embedded pivot on parent peg. Now watch the pivot point. Boom. Goes straight into the center where the wrist would be. Now, we have a forearm and we have a hand. When the forearm moves, the hand follows, right? So we want to connect the hand peg to the forearm peg. What that does is it'll make the hand follow the forearm, right? So the hand peg is connected to the forearm peg because the hand wants to follow the forearm. Okay. So now that that's done, now we can start the animation. So just like yesterday, we're going to continue to use our transform tool. So we're going to set our first keyframe. Let's see how we want it to start up here. Right. And then we're going to do the keyframe method with the motion tween. Right. Because you animate when you start animating professionally, and then you're going to go back and adjust the frames in between the in-betweens. So we want the hand to start here, and then let's say goes to frame 8, comes down, right? And then we go to frame 18, and we're going to go back up. So an easy way to do this is copy the first frame, paste it, the last frame on frame 18. So now what we're going to do is we're going to do exactly what I just said. We're going to hit the set motion keyframe. So now the computer is going to interpolate how it gets from one key to the next. And then we're going to do the same thing for the second part. I'm just right clicking, insert keyframe, set motion keyframe. Boom. So that's what it looks like right now, right? So everything's very even all the way across. We want to not have it so even. We want to set our eases in and our eases out. So what we're going to do is we are going to select all these frames like we did yesterday. Hit this button over here, the create keyframes on button. And then every number of frames, we're going to set it to 2s. We're going to do 2s. Okay. Now, I'm going to put Shift plus to put some space in between these two keyframes. And then Shift plus. So from here to here, we know we want a ease out because it's the beginning, the very beginning of the drawing. So we're going to start it closer. You want to ease out. And when you're coming down, you're going to be coming down faster than you're going up because of gravity. So boom. So we know we want the downward action to be a very fast action. So it slows out and then speeds up as it's coming down. So boom, boom. So these are already too many frames. So boom, boom. That's what we want. Boom. So something like that. Boom, 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 boom. Okay. So, how do we make this better? See, because that doesn't look so bad, huh? But how do we make this better? So, remember when we connected the hand peg to the forearm peg? Now what we can do is, because we use the circles as joints, we can move the hand to create some follow through, right? So, we'll tilt this back, right? So as the arm starts to move, the hand is dragging behind. So boom, boom. Now it hits this bottom. Now it's following through. So let's create some ease out here. So we hit and then it slows to picking back up. Okay, so we got boom, drag, hands dragging behind, dragging behind. Then we're gonna slowly ease in back into our final position. Boom. So I'm gonna create another little one. Then we want the hand to end in the same exact place that we started at. So there we go. So it's boom, boom. I'm gonna hit Shift plus because there's some drawings missing here. There we go. So let's see. Boom, boom, boom. So this hand kind of snaps into place here. So what we want to do is we want to make this closer. There we go. Okay, now let's see what we got. Boom, 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 boom. And that's that. So thank you for watching episode 2 of Become a Puppet Master. We'll see you next time on episode 3.